Hi guys. Okay, so I had mentioned earlier this week that as you're classifying shapes, it's almost like shapes are part of their own club. Um, and the club that we're going to learn about today is the quadrilateral club. So all of these shapes, the parallelogram, the rectangle, this is the rhombus, and the square, they all are part of the quadrilateral club. They all have four sides and they all have four angles. Okay. Then we start to get a little bit more specific. So not all of the shapes are going to fit every single category. There's the first one is the parallelogram. So the shapes that are also parallelograms are rectangles, rhombuses, and squares. All three of these shapes are also part of the parallelogram club, and that's because they do have two pairs of parallel sides. So they still fit that category. Just because it's a rectangle, a rhombus, or a square, they still have two sets of parallel sides. So they're also parallelograms. Quadrilaterals can be more than one shape. They can be classified in more than one way. Okay, and then as we get closer down into the rectangle club, things are going to get a little bit more specific. So the rectangle is part of the parallelogram club. That's why he's on the inside. But a parallelogram is not necessarily a rectangle. Okay? He doesn't fit that category because a rectangle, it has to have four right angles. A parallelogram doesn't have to have four right angles, so it can't be a rectangle. It can't be part of that club. The rhombus over here, it just has to have four equal sides. So a rhombus can be a parallelogram. But a rhombus or a rhombus is a parallelogram, but it can't go the other way around. Okay, and then the other shape that we have here is the square. The square, he fits into all of these clubs. He is a quadrilateral. He is a parallelogram. Square is also a rectangle. A rectangle is not also a square, but a square is also a rectangle. And it is also a rhombus. So square checks off a lot of boxes. Okay, I wanted to explain this, and then there's also a different copy of this also on the Google slide. So once you go to do your independent practice, like, you won't have to click back to this video. This is something really similar to this is posted there for you to use. And then, of course, we can't forget about these other oddball shapes. So they don't really fit into any club. They're kind of off by their lonesome, and that's the trapezoid. So a trapezoid, it just has to have one pair of parallel sides. It can't have two, then it would be a parallelogram. So the trapezoid, he doesn't fit in with this crowd. He's just a quadrilateral. And then other than that, he's by himself. And then if it doesn't fit any category, we just have other quadrilaterals, because these would not fit a rhombus or a rectangle or a square or a parallelogram. They're just quadrilaterals. They have four sides. Okay, so today, for your practice, when you hit back to the Google Doc, that's exactly what you're going to be doing. You're going to be classifying shapes. Keep in mind, shapes can be more than just one thing. So you'll be able to check off all of the different categories that each shape fits. All right.